And we are live. Right, well, we're not going to have to listen to me rattle on for another half hour because I already have a guest sitting back in the backstage. So I welcome the one and only Ian Ranking of the Obscure. Hello, Ian.
It's been a while since I've been on here, but with one.
Been a while, isn't it?
Not
How are we doing then?
I'm doing all right. Can we explain what happened last night?
Why not?
Well, after my live stream last night, we usually have a bit of a boys' natter. And there was Mike, Final Spiral, Simon and myself. Just chatting away, and I disappeared because I had the shortest power cut in history. Everything went black for about 45, 50 seconds, and I come back on, and I couldn't get into my own blooming stream.
Yes, he disappeared, and we wondered what was going on. Ian just went. We figured you had some kind of technical problem, and me and Mike, we carried on sort of chatting. Got to about 1 o'clock. Mike was saying, "Oh, it's 1 o'clock. You should sort of like call it a night now," which we're on the verge of doing. And just about to sort of like close up, Mike starts asking another question or something, and we start the conversation going again. Next minute, an hour has almost passed. It's almost 2 o'clock. So yeah, I'm glad you kept it running because we're on there quite a bit, having a natter.
Well, yeah, it's but it hasn't affected my StreamYard because I've just gone and checked it, and it is. I think it's because once we're finished because I've got the paid one, it records it, and it's the same time as the thing. And the other thing, and I've just checked on that Oxygen Part 6. It's over 9,000 views now.
Wow. Wow.
It is up. Wow.
Wow. Yes.
Yes. I only went up a week ago.
Yeah.
It's overtaken status quo that nearly took 3 years to get 9,000 views.
Yeah, that's done it in no time, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I've just gone. Also, I've just gone over the 400,000 views.
Wow. Yeah. Blimey.
Another 100,000, and that's 500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's quite good, these shorts, aren't they? They can really sort of do incredibly well, can't they?
Yeah,
standard video.
Takes one, doesn't it? Just takes one short, one.
Yeah, it does. So, yeah, bring in a lot of different audience, can't it?
Yeah,
a lot of new people.
Well, I think that's what it's all about, though, isn't it? Yeah, I think everyone sometime in their YouTube career is going to get that break.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, you keep plugging away, and you experiment with shorts and videos and this, that, and the other. It's going to go for you eventually, isn't it?
I mean, it happened to Stevie, didn't it? I mean, big time.
I know. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to get 1 million views on this.
Yeah. I think it's easier these days for people to gain higher subscriber base than maybe when it was when I started about 5 years ago. It seemed a bit sort of more slower then, to sort of gain traction. Maybe some people were able to sort of grow theirs more quickly than me, but I think in general it was slower,
I mean, my shorts for me are just I see shorts as like an intro to your channel. A bit in it. What sort of things? I mean, if you look at all my other shorts, most of the bands I've actually ranked their albums.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you might find a lot of your majority of people who view your shorts probably aren't going to watch your videos. Some of them will, but obviously a lot won't. They'll just continue to watch your shorts, won't they?
Yeah. good
people.
that you can get both audiences. You can get the ones that like watching the longer videos, the more in depth, and you're going to get people that actually like just flicking, as Stevie says, flicking it on the bus on the way to work.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. Yeah,
He absolutely described it perfect. You know,
people have that short kind of attention
yeah
thing. You know, who just want to flick through and watch shorts. You know, not go to the more in-depth video. You know, because that takes more time.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, they're so quick, they're so simple to do. Once you get your initial start, set it up, your template. I mean, shorts. I mean, I can do the 6 shorts that I put out each week. I can sit and do them in an evening.
Yeah.
Not, you know, I think the longest time is the actual rendering. And that takes, because it's only a less than a minute, it only takes about 3 or 4 minutes to think. So they're just all
it can be quite a mixed bag, can't it, with shorts? You can get quite a low number on one of them. Then the next one, it can just skyrocket.
Yeah. You know, there's some of the ones that I put up, they get hardly any views. And then you put an album up, you think, well, no one's going to listen to this. Yeah. It's like I put Led Zeppelin's In Through the Outdoor up. The last album, not the bit strongest album in the catalogue by any chance, but I think it's about 1,200 views. And then Status Quo's Rocking All Over the World album, that's done well.
Yeah.
You know, you put the classics up and they don't fly, but you put up a really obscure, you know, one of the lesser ones, and it goes through the roof. But then again, that may appeal to people that are not big fans of the bands, you know.
Yeah. I think the last short I did was a Vindaloo segment. You know, like a minute's worth of the song Vindaloo during the Euros. And strangely, oddly enough, I didn't get that many views. Maybe like 70 odd views or something. But the one I did before that was Fatboy Slim, and that got over like 500. So
yeah, it just amazes you what people are actually thinking.
Yeah, but you would have thought, you know, the Vindaloo one, that given the time I put it on there, then it would have got a lot more. But oddly enough, it didn't.
No, it just amazes how people's brains work, isn't it?
Yeah. Whether the YouTube algorithm has something to do with it. Sorry?
I enjoy doing the shorts now. I like, because it's good to put just little bits of albums.
Yeah.
And sometimes I hope it inspires if people actually go and listen to that album in full.
Yeah. It's a little taster, isn't it?
Yeah, have a listen to this and.
Yeah,
I mean, I've done a couple of Budgie, the rock band from Wales, videos, and people say they don't get enough love. So I thought, starting next week, I'm going to do a short on all their albums. You know, and then get hopefully people that are sort of, okay, Budgie, I've heard of them, but I don't know what they sound like.
Yeah.
And this one of them's going to be linked to the Budgie ranking video as well. So. Yeah, I've got some really good ones for when I take my little break. So I'm not going to say too much, but they're pretty good. In the same vein as, all I can say is they're in the same sort of vein as a Jean-Michel Jarre.
I popped into HMV today to have a look around. And it was very kind of different to one nearest to me. It was sort of very much like, had all like this kind of like souvenirs and sort of just stuff, you know, before you even got to like the vinyl and the CDs and the Blu-rays and DVDs. It just had sort of like toys and things, you know, and loads of shirts and stuff. You know, good half of the store was all that kind of junk. before you could even get to the sort of the media.
That's not good.
Yeah.
In the day, you'd walk in and you'd have the top 20 albums in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It was all at the back. It's all right at the back almost. Well, a little halfway through the store, at least,
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, posters, T-shirts, and all at the back, the back of the store.
Yeah. I mean, they had soft toys and just all sorts of things you wouldn't necessarily would be in a shop like that now, but they do that these days, don't they?
Yeah, Richard Scott made a point about copyright laws. They have a thing with shorts, and it's called a shorts policy. Even with copyrighted music, it comes up as a short policy, and basically, it doesn't affect your channel.
Yeah, selling sweets and the crap kids want. Yeah, it's very sort of kiddie minded, isn't it? These
I don't know
days.
why, because I haven't got the money. You thought the adults that want to go and buy records.
I think they're trying to appeal to younger people, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not putting sweets in there. Do they? Have they still got big DVD and Blu-ray sections, or are they dwindling now?
I think the DVD, the DVD bit is dwindling a bit. They have a fairly decent Blu-ray section, and the 4K bit is, they've got a couple of sort of shelves for that now. I thought about 4K, and I thought maybe I might pick out the odd 4K movie here and there, like some of the ones I really love, But regarding collecting as a format, I'm not going to spend too much money on it, Maybe just a handful of films or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've got all the Star Wars on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
they sound great.
Blu-ray is good enough, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But regarding an upgrade, but
I mean, when you've got something like the Batman, the restored Batman series that's been restored and everything else, it's brilliant on there. The sound's great, the picture quality is fantastic. And what I like about it, they've kept it in the 4:3.
Yeah.
In its original format.
I saw that actually, that box set.
It's really, really good. It's got all the episodes of the classic TV series. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a bit cheesy, but I don't care.
I wouldn't mind the box set of Boardwalk Empire on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
I would like that.
Yeah, I like that. That was.
I've got the first two series on Blu-ray, but it's hard to track down the ones after then on Blu-ray.
Also got that's good on Blu-ray. I've got the Indiana Jones movies on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I want to get. I like the latest one, believe it or not. I mean, I've seen it.
I did. Yeah, I did.
I've actually watched the new Beverly Hills Cop movie.
I saw a bit of it.
It's not too bad, actually. It's better than 3.
Right. He does seem old in it, doesn't he? Eddie Murphy.
They all do. Yeah. But the fun's still there. It's even got Serge.
Serge, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
And they're still doing the old "Get the fuck out of here, no!"
Yeah.
Yes, I use Spotify a lot. Well, I have to. I've even got it on Premiere now, so I don't get adverts because it was just getting so ridiculous.
More and more ads now, isn't it?
Oh, it was getting, you get 2 songs an ad, 1 song an ad, and I thought, how much is it?
It's done on purpose to make you pay for the premium YouTube.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, all I see it is I wouldn't be able to go and listen to all what I do, like, or go and buy for the price. And I see it as an investment in what I do on the channel. Because, I swear 90% I do my listening for ranking. So yeah, so I've got the premium. It's nice. What was more annoying? You'd put your playlist together, that you've put together. Blooming adverts in that. It's the same bloody one every. God.
Oh, they last even longer now. They go on for ages, don't they? Minutes sometimes.
Yeah, it's bad as being like the YouTube ones.
Yeah, sometimes you could skip after like 3 seconds or so, but some of them just go on, keep you hanging there forever, don't they?
Well, yeah, that I don't know why, because I try and set it that you can skip them.
Right.
I'm just reading.
I haven't used Spotify. I mean, I've been on there and used it as a trial, but never actually done it properly.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Amazon Music as well, which comes up with, the Amazon Music for she that can't be talked about. So
didn't Amazon Music start off with a download service? You could download MP3s.
Yeah.
And pay for them like 99p per MP3.
Well, that's good, Martin. £3.33 for a family plan.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Look into that.
Yeah, it's cheap. I mean, it was £3. Oh, £3 a month. No, I suppose it's not bad, I suppose.
But I can cope with the adverts. I think the better. I tend to play, if I'm listening to an album on YouTube, I tend to play it through my Bluetooth now.
Yeah.
Yeah, since I brought that's when I brought my hi-fi, I had to buy like an amp, and they suggested I had this CD player, and he said if you don't use the CD player, the beauty of this is kind of it's Bluetooth enabled, so you can link it to your phone, your computer, and whatever you want. So my Spotify, I sit here, I open it up on my computer, start playing it, go to my phone, do the link, and I keep it on the phone. And once you've made that link, you can chop and change things. So I can crank it up on the speakers, which it sounds far better. And people say, "I didn't know you had this album." I haven't. But sometimes you gotta remember to do it, because you're going through your phone and you see things you want to watch, it comes through on your speakers.
Right. Yeah. I don't use Bluetooth or anything like that. Everything's wired. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about that. I'll have to have a word with Dave, because I don't know, it might work out cheaper if me and Dave did a share. So look into that.
It would be even less, won't it, if you do it with a mate?
Yeah. No, that's a thought. I have to look into that. Well, I was about saw a league today, and apparently the local village football team, they've got their first league game tomorrow
Yeah.
already. So weather permitting, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go and watch the first game of the season. So I have to comprehend that it's still July.
I know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I never watched the opening ceremony of the Olympics.
No, it doesn't really interest me. To be honest with
No,
you.
just want to get on with the sport.
Bring back the football.
Yeah, that was that final. That was just
Crap, wasn't it?
yeah. We were probably one of the worst teams there, and we managed to get to the final.
We limped our way to the final, didn't we? Like we did this. Like we did it before. I knew we wouldn't beat Spain.
They were too good.
Yeah, they can attack. England can't attack properly.
Yeah, Lenny Euros like Vidat and Rio, but better. Yeah. I just wonder who that we're going to get next.
I was watching some old football footage from the 2000s. England versus Portugal. I think it's about 2006. And looking at the players of England, we had some right beasts playing, in the squad. Some monsters, Sol Campbell, Rio Ferdinand, David Beckham. Portugal had Figo, Ronaldo. Some real huge players. Man for man. And it's not like that anymore, is it? It's just kind of this very athletic team, of sort of averagey players.
Some of our defenders we've had in the past as well. Tony Adams.
Tony Adams.
It was nothing. Ray Wilkins. Nothing.
John Terry was in the squad when I was watching the match. The big players. Big names. Gerrard. Was Andy Cole there? I can't remember.
That squad should have won something.
Lampard. But that quality doesn't seem to be there anymore, does it? Those big names, they're not there so much.
No. And I think the thing is, you get players like Bellingham who play brilliant for Real Madrid, and he just doesn't get the surface that he does at Real.
No, they play well for their respective teams because I think they have the role for those players, haven't they? There's a game plan for them.
Yeah,
but
I think Harry Kane was carrying an injury all the way through that tournament.
He was, yeah.
Shouldn't have been playing.
No.
I think leaving Jack Grealish at home was a big mistake.
Yeah, I like Grealish.
He was a big player for the occasion.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the young lads that come in, they did well.
I think English players, I should say, they have it harder in the Premier League because there's fewer of them, for one, who actually make that kind of league. because it's very dominated with foreign talent, isn't it? In the Premier League, so they get very little limelight. And the ones that kind of make it, if you look at, say, the German league, it's full of German players. That's why I think you often find most German teams, when it comes to Europe and what the World Cup, are quite strong because there's a lot of German players they can pick from, good quality. So I don't think we have that in the Premier League because it is dominated by foreigners. And that's not the players' fault. That's just how it's run, isn't it? This is as a business. I think the FA they should change the rules for the English League and have, say, like every Premiership team should have 16 English players playing for the club. The rest of them can be foreign players. That's fine. But say have a list of, say, like 16 or something. And I think in turn that would help the England team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only other way is to do like they do in rugby and cricket, have central contracts. That having central contractors. I mean, with our cricket, it's really helped our cricket having central contracts.
It would be a lot cheaper for clubs because they wouldn't have to keep spending millions and millions of pounds on foreign investment on players all the time. They could homegrown them and get them in from other places. I think it'll spending will go down dramatically.
Yes, I got in an argument over trans playing rugby union. I had to put someone in their place. You can't have it. It's dangerous, far too dangerous. I mean, some of these blokes, I mean, when I used to play, they used to lock the wind out of you. And I'm a bloke, a stocky bloke. You think you take some of our ladies seven players that are out there in Paris, Jazz Joyce and Ellie Kildun, they're skinny little things. They're quick as lightning, but get tackled by a big 6 foot bloke built like an outdoor privy, kill them. So yes.
But you're more of a rugby man, though, aren't you, Ian?
I'm a rugby man, yes.
Yeah.
And the team I support are actually league champions. Yeah, they've just released the fixtures, and our first game is away to Bath, and we beat in the Premiership final.
Oh yeah.
I don't believe in this. How the rugby is set up, though. We have a season, and then there's a quarter semi-finals, and then if you finish top, you're champions. And for once, the team that finished top actually were champions, because you could finish fourth in the league and get through to the Premiership final and win it for finishing fourth.
That's crap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. They just can't leave things alone, can they? It's the same with football. We have a structure, and they have to tweak it and change things and make it stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's like the playoffs they have in the league below the Premier League. They play them at Wembley. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, semi-finals should not be played at Wembley. Back in my day, you'd have it at a ground, say, if you've got two northern sides, like say if you got Liverpool and Newcastle, they played at Old Trafford. I mean, what's the point of that? You got an all northern final and you bring them down to Wembley.
Yeah. Who are probably never likely to play at Wembley ever again.
Yeah, so I get that bit of it.
So yeah, it's all done to guarantee money. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, what are my thoughts on DJ Carey? Couldn't care less. Not my problem. I don't. You know, people want to speculate and let them get on with it, but no, not for. Couldn't care less. Semi-finals should be played in smaller venues, like a studio. What's that supposed to mean? Obviously, you're American and don't understand football.
They could be played at a neutral ground or play at whoever's been not numbered, you know, like the FA Cup.
Yeah, okay, you got a semi-final between Chelsea and Arsenal. Played at Tottenham Ground.
Well, no, it should be whoever's pulled out of the balls. So, like, you know, if Arsenal, for example, was number 6, and number 6 is pulled out, Arsenal pulled out again, number 3, Chelsea. That's just how it rolls. You know, it's sort of luck of the draw. That's how it should be. That's how it was, anyway.
Yeah.
Before, I think the FA finals at Wembley. I think the first one was against Arsenal and Spurs. I'm not even sure why that.
I know who he is. He's involved in hurling and all that sort of nonsense.
Richard would know. Was the 1991 semi-final between Arsenal and Tottenham? Was that the first one to be played at Wembley? Richard would know. I think it was, but I might be mistaken.
What arrived then?
I think it's shit.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's not the thingies then.
No.
They should stop doing it, shouldn't they? All this pile rubbish. It's spoiling the game.
Is it for cleaning? You wrote on the thing, didn't you? What?
Terrible final.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's another job for me. I just said I'm calling in. I'll leave you with that then. That means the thing is.
I haven't heard this. This is news to me. Or are you joking, Rob Walker? Richard, that was the only semi-final I can speak about. You don't know what it's been like for a Spurs fan to have been in the opportunity of having, I don't know, maybe being in maybe 10 semi-finals and not get into the FA Cup final since 91. I think you can give us that one, yeah, at least. That's all we have. Yes, they have. Archie Gray from Leeds, 40 million. He's a, I think he's a forward. No doubt they get someone else as well. I think they're looking at another player from Korea, another winger. Rob says, no, it's true. I've heard a rumour it's a matter of time before some Premier League games have to be played abroad.
Yeah, well, it happens in American football, doesn't it? And in baseball. I mean, I went to a baseball game in the league at the London Stadium. So
Yeah, Archie Gray, 40 million. I know, crazy money. He's only a youngster.
I remember when people thought that £1 million for Trevor Francis was a lot of money.
He's a midfielder, is he? I thought he was forward.
A midfield that can play right back. That's a useful tool, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there was talk about that Euro League, wasn't there, at one point? I think it may still happen.
Yeah. I mean, they come over here to play their league games over here, so why can't we return the favour?
I think there's going to be a Super League eventually. There was talk about it in the past. Sort of have, I don't know, 10 of the biggest clubs in the world enter the Super League.
Yeah. I mean, teams like Barcelona and Juventus are interested in that.
Thing is, I think it would completely void you from the Premier League and the Champions League or anything like that, wouldn't it? If you were to enter a league like that, you know, could have financial consequences, couldn't it?
Well, I get what Richard's saying, but I mean, I know. Well, I mean, we met. There was a lot of people over from Philadelphia to watch the Phillies. They had their own stand. The actual fans come over, and there wasn't just about 10. There were 4,000 of them. It's and I think what they did for it was on big screens back at the at the home grounds. So I don't know. Yeah, Super League before the end. Yeah, I think Rob Walker's right there.
I think it's going that way.
Would they invite Celtic or Rangers?
I think it's more about money, isn't it, than anything else, isn't it? You got to be one of the richest to be in there. I don't think it's really about success necessarily, is it? Looking at the teams who were considered to be in the Super League, was it Tottenham, and Tottenham haven't won anything, but their infrastructure and their wealth was enough to put them in the hat.
It seemed like Everton doing it because they've got their new ground.
I don't think Everton are big enough. Liverpool, yeah, but
Just see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah. I don't think it couldn't be something you could be relegated from. I don't know. Possibly. Yeah, Tottenham. They were considered one of the teams who would enter. That's definite. Levy was very interested. I think that it was rumoured that a lot of it was Levy that kind of put a lot of that together. Sort of, pulled a few strings to try and make it happen.
But the other thing is they have already got a really Super League. It's called Champions League, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but it's like a European Champions League, isn't it? I suppose this Super League will be worldwide, I imagine. No, open to anybody.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens, isn't it? A bit like the next World Cup, though, and it being played in three countries. It's got to be
all. You could put Newcastle in the elites now. I would agree with that. Actually, Newcastle. But yeah, Tottenham are one of the big six.
I don't know if they'd ever. I don't know. I mean, there's always been talk about, like in rugby as well, about super sort of league in rugby, but
no, City and Chelsea never been big six in the 80s. No, they haven't. They've not got a lot of history, have they? Chelsea.
I mean, both them. I mean, Man City. I remember Man City coming to play at the Sixfields when they were in the same league as Northampton.
They've been relegated from the Premier League a few times, haven't they?
Yeah, and they went down, I think, as far as the First Division.
Right.
Because that's where Northampton have played Man City in a league game.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know how long ago, but it was. I do remember Man City being in the Football League. And I mean, Chelsea have been relegated a few times.
Before the Premier League.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They haven't really done anything since Abramovich, really, have they, Chelsea? Their sort of history is recent, isn't it? The last 20 years. 20 years or so. I think the 90s, they kind of stepped up a lot, didn't they, Chelsea? You started to see them reach FA Cup finals and things. It kind of, they were.
Yeah, we know George Best hit us for 6. My dad and uncle were at that game.
Some player, wasn't he, Best?
Yeah. Apparently, according to them, George Best beat Northampton on his own.
City were big in the 50s and 60s. They have history. Northampton have played United. Yeah, United were sort of more of a 60s team as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were pretty big in the 60s, United.
I can't remember which season Man City were in the same league as the Cobblers. And that was out, not in the Premiership or anything, or the Division 1. It was definitely when Manchester City were in the lower leagues.
When was Northampton in the top tier?
65, 66, I think, something like that.
Right.
And they went down on goal in the 90s. I think it was the 90s. Yeah, because I know my mum and dad got married in 65, and they had the wedding in the morning, and then half the blokes cleared off at the Cobblers because they were playing Leicester City or something. They all went up the county ground and then went back to the reception. Oh, thank you, Astro Zombie. 1998, blimey. That was... Yes, Manchester City and Northampton. Oh, well, we've got to play Birmingham City this year. They're on a thing. We played Derby County last year.
They've won the league, haven't they, Derby?
They did. 74, 75?
Under Clough, wasn't it?
Brian Clough, yeah.
Yeah.
That was when the baseball ground, if it rained, it was a mud bath.
Quite a different game back then, though, wasn't it?
God, yeah.
Yeah. It got rough, didn't it?
It got rather rough. Half of the fouls out there. But the one thing is, when it was handball, it wasn't if the ball hit the...
Why do you think it got so rough in the 70s in the game?
I don't know.
Because it was sort of okay in the 60s, wasn't it? And then the 70s happened, it just sort of like went mad.
Yeah, the dirtiest side was Leeds United.
I was going to say Leeds, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, footballers were heavy in them days. Yeah. There's that great, that line that Brian Clough when he went to Leeds. You know, put all your medals in the bin because you won them by cheating.
Liverpool had some pretty mean players as well, didn't they? Graham Souness,
Tommy Smith.
Sort of swinging their arms and elbows at people and going in with 2 feet sometimes. Leg breaking challenges if it was to connect with you properly.
Yeah, it's like Chelsea. They had Chopper Harris, didn't they? On Chopper Harris. When I worked in learning disabilities, because I was involved with the football for the disabilities, we went to a day centre in London, and the football was run there by John Dempsey, who used to play for Chelsea.
Yeah.
And we got really friendly with him, and he used to say, it was brutal, you go home with more bruises on your knees and your ankles because of, you play Norman Hunter. He never went for the ball in his life. It
wasn't just on the pitch though; it was on the terraces as well, wasn't it?
God.
The violence, the anarchy, and the full of fights and the pitch invasions and. Smashing up with the goals.
Yeah, like at Wembley when Scotland beat England. Remember watching that. They come and broke the crossbar, and they dug up the penalty spot. But then again, when I used to go and watch cricket, at the end of the game, everyone used to leg it on the pitch. Not to do any damage, but it was the thing. It was great watching all the players trying to leg it off.
Every team had a thug in the 70s. The 70s were great.
Oh yeah,
It took on a whole different sort of culture, didn't it? The 70s, the football hooligan.
proper hooligans. I'll tell you what, they make the modern some of these. They make some of the, like, you take the Millwall fans of today, right?
Yeah.
The Millwall fans of the 70s would have had them for breakfast. Oh, cool. There's some names. Frank Worthington and Tony Curry. Absolutely brilliant players.
Who do they play for?
Frank Worthington. Oh, I know he played for Bolton Wanderers. Tony Curry, Sheffield United. I'm sure Rob will confirm that. I know that I think Frank played. He definitely played for Bolton. And probably a few others, but Tony Curry, I think he's Sheffield United.
Yeah, Millwall and Chelsea. Yeah, they were notoriously bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their firms are bad as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're intercity firms.
I mean, I remember going, this would have been in the 90s. I used to go to Chelsea with Lee. And you come into a tube station and you've got one tube full of Chelsea fans and the other Spurs. And the doors opened, and you can imagine what was being shouted. The Chelsea was shouting at the
Spurs fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say it began with the word began with Y and ended in O.
Yeah.
But that's how it was. No one took offence. It was just done in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of the fans that I've dealt with, working on the railway, Portsmouth fans weren't very nice. There was one day that they played MK Dons, and they were a little drunk, and when they're drunk, they wander about and they go too close to the edge, and you have to keep them. Come here. Yeah. And this one fan said, "Don't, he'll be all right. I know what he's doing." I went, "No," I says, "My platform, my rules." And I went, "What do you do for a living?" He said, "I'm a roofer." So I said, "What about if I came on Monday morning and told you how to do your job?" I wouldn't like it. I said, "I'm doing mine at the moment, so you've got two choices. You do what I say, or the door's that way. Simple as."
Was there a lot of anger in Britain in the 70s, and that was coming out through the football and the music? The punk scene. It was all kind of
may have been
going on at the same time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would say there was a lot
of anti-establishment.
Yeah.
Mentality.
Yeah, it was a lot of it. There was so much going on, and I mean the worst ones were the old firm games up in Rangers. That wasn't just about football, that was about religion.
Right.
And
it
there was so much going on.
It went into the 80s, but it kind of eased off a little bit more in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Yeah, a lot of what, when we got banned from Europe because of our behaviour, I mean, that cost us a lot of income and a lot of things, but there's Nick's.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of strikes, 3-day week. I remember going into my local supermarket in the middle of the day and there were candles everywhere.
The 90s, though, I mean, it was kind of like a good blend between the hard man, the old school hard man footballer, mixed in with the kind of the modern era, wasn't it? It was kind of a mix of the two, and it kind of worked.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that, that pitch invasion. I think was it at Forest Luton and Brian Clough clobbered that for running on the pitch.
I mean, if you look at some of the players of the 90s, like some of the goalkeepers and some of, the strikers and that, look at their faces and their ages, and you think you would never see a player like that who looks like that in the modern game. And it's there's loads of them in the 90s, players who wouldn't even get anywhere near the modern game of the day.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that you got football agents now. They're the curse of the transfers.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, in the day, there was no transfer thing. I mean, a lot of Cloughies, I mean, he signed John McGovern for Nottingham Forest from Derby in a motorway service station. We turn up at their house with a contract. Yeah, sign here. Yeah, it happened all the time, Wouldn't happen.
Billy Jones, Ginola, Cantona. Yeah. God, he had a temper, didn't he?
God, he went to Crystal Palace. Way Kung Fu kicking.
Yeah. Great player.
A temper.
Well, they all did, didn't they? All those Man United players were very temperamental, weren't they?
Yeah. But Fergie calmed them down. And
Well, he kept them in check, didn't he?
Yeah, but then again, these days you get a manager like that, and the players today, if they didn't like it, they'd get onto their agent and say, "Oh, he's bullying me."
Yeah, and I imagine that would happen if Fergie was, if someone like Fergie was still managing, he would be shut down.
That's it. It's like, some of the players probably, these days they don't like a manager. And that was the thing with Brian Clough. Dom Revie had mollycoddled Leeds United so much. Brian Clough come in and he wanted to train them properly, and they didn't like it. And it was the players that they went to the board to get shot of Clough.
They did, yeah.
They're players. The manager's the manager.
They were champions, Leeds, weren't they? But they weren't loved champions, were they? Because they didn't do it. They didn't do it through the sort of sportsman way. They did it through sort of cheating and fighting, and
Oh, there was one. But when they did play football, it was pretty good. I don't know who they were playing, but for about 10 minutes, the opposing side just didn't get the ball. It was just all these short little passes.
Yeah.
And Barry Davies was commentating. He said, "This is magnificent."
They didn't do it in Europe, though, did they, Leeds?
No, they always sort of fell at the final fence, a bit like England.
Yeah. But of course, Forest did under Clough, didn't they?
Twice.
Twice.
Aston Villa.
Villa did, yeah. 2 clubs, you just wouldn't. A young person of the day probably wouldn't know that they won the Champions League if you told them.
Yeah, I mean, that's. Didn't that, I don't know if they won. I don't know if they have won a European trophy leagues.
I don't.
They still get a lot of stick today, though, don't they? Leeds United.
They're still a big club, though, aren't they? In history, football history.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if they come up this season. Just missed out last year, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. They should be up there, really, shouldn't they? Leeds.
Yeah, it took them long enough to get up there, and they. Yeah, I think I don't know if it was 74, 75, something like that. Something like that. Anyway, I can't quite remember. Anyway, it's getting a bit dark in here.
Yeah, Keane from Man United. He was the captain, wasn't he? He was the hard man.
Razor Ruddock.
Oh, yeah, Keown.
I'll tell you what, Martin Keown's a really nice guy. He used to travel for Milton Keynes a lot. And one thing about him, he'd always have his picture taken with people. He would sign stuff. He didn't push anybody away.
But a lot of these sort of players, those 90s players, they're big players, aren't they? They're sort of 6-foot giants. You know, they have a physical presence about them. And you don't seem to see that as much these days, do you?
No.
I mean, Teddy Sheringham as well. He's a big guy. People don't realise how big Teddy Sheringham is. You know.
No, I mean, he was. I mean, in the air, he was no one better. Very dangerous if you didn't mark him, and he scored a lot of goals with his head, didn't he? And
he played a charity game, didn't he, a few years ago? Gordon Ramsay was on the opposing side, and Teddy Sheringham just completely flattened him. just ran over him like a tank.
Yeah,
and he was carted off injured. Ramsay.
Yeah, I mean, he's no slouch, is he, really?
No.
No,
Yeah, Sheringham
was a magnificent. I agree with Richard.
Yeah.
He was a magnificent player.
That partnership he had with Jurgen Klinsmann was probably a great time to be a Spurs fan, seeing those two score goals.
And when fit, Darren Anderton.
Yeah, sick note. Yeah. He was a freaky player because he could be off sick for months on end, come back into the team and play a worldie. You know, a few weeks later he'll be injured again, and he'll do the same thing and make the England side. Freakish player, really weird.
Yeah, he scored some great goals for England, didn't he?
Yeah, good with dead ball as well. Score free kicks, corners.
So there was one player that he, until he went to Manchester United, he was picked out by the England manager, Owen Hargreaves.
Hargreaves, yeah.
Very good player.
Didn't he not go abroad?
Played for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I thought he did. So, you know.
Matt Le Tissier, another good player.
Yes, he was. I've always liked Le Tissier.
Yeah, he scored some good goals. You remember Steve Bull?
Name rings a bell.
Yeah, played for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah.
And I think he used to play for England while they were in the first division.
Le Tissier, wasn't he a one-man team? Did he just play for the one club?
Southampton, I think he did.
Yeah, Southampton, yeah.
Yeah, there's none of that loyalty though today, is there, with players either?
Yeah, Jack Stam, he was a monster of a player, wasn't he? I think he was a bit mistreated, wasn't he, Jack Stam, wasn't he, by Ferguson?
Yeah, I think he was. Great player though.
Yeah, Matt Letizia was a great player.
See, another player when he was at his peak, Glenn Hoddle.
Hoddle was a genius.
He was another one that had a lazy game in one respect, but he commanded the midfield and he could put passes through and drop them, pinpoint them, couldn't he?
He could, yeah. He there was this goal he scored. I think it might have been an FA Cup or a League Cup match. Spurs played Liverpool, and we got beat by Liverpool. I don't know, 4-1 or something. But that one goal Spurs scored was by Hoddle, and it was like, I don't know, a 30-yard, 40-yard shot, and even the Liverpool fans were applauding it. It was so good. You know, he was that kind of player.
He was majestic, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, he was. Which obviously, you know, even the Liverpool fans were applauding it because of his brilliance. You know,
yeah, I mean, I've seen him play. I've actually watched him play, and he doesn't run around a lot. He never ran around.
No.
But every time he touched the ball, he could look up and know exactly. He could see someone running into the box, and he could put the ball in. I mean, they didn't do things as assists back in that day, but I wonder how many assists he would have got per season.
He was technically brilliant, wasn't he? He could go round players. His dead ball was up there. That's the very best. Just all round game, you know.
And I don't think he was a bad manager either.
No, I don't. He went to Chelsea, didn't he, to manage? Didn't he? And kind of off that, they kind of started to sort of do all right after then.
Yeah, which, I mean, you know, well, I mean, when he had his heart attack, it was, you know, I'm glad he recovered. And I mean, he's a good pundit as well. This is a guy that knows the game inside and out.
Yeah, Hoddle and Worrell, two of the very best there of that era.
Yeah, Waddle, he could. I mean, Waddle's quality of crosses.
We had some great players in the 80s.
Yeah, John Barnes,
yeah.
Liam Brady. Now that was another good player.
Gaza, he was a player. Gascoigne.
Yeah, talking of, I found it on YouTube, the 1979 FA Cup final. Spurs, not Spurs, Arsenal and Man United.
89.
Yeah, Arsenal went 2-0 up at half time, and they were winning 2-0 until about 10 minutes to go. Gordon McQueen scored one, and then Sammy McElroy got the equaliser.
Always been a bloody jammy side, Arsenal, haven't they?
Yeah. Richard will know what I'm talking about. And there's the winning goal that was picked up in midfield by Liam Brady.
I honestly think Arsenal are the most jammiest side in English football history. They're so jammy and lucky.
Yeah, when they won the league against Liverpool, the dying minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Alan Sunderland, yeah.
Yes, it's sad. Gaz's career, the way it went for him, and George Best, of course. Alcohol and
That goal that Gaza scored against Scotland in the Euro '96 is
oh yeah, he lobbed it
one of the
over.
best goals you'll ever see.
Yeah, it was. He chipped it over one of the defenders and he had it in on the volley.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then that free kick he did in the semi-final of the cup.
Against Arsenal, yeah.
Blinder.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. I know. Such panache, didn't he, Gaza?
Nah, character and half. I mean, he's he's doing all right now, and I'm glad to see that he's. I mean, he looks very frail, but he's still got his sense of humour. There was a wonderful bit on a podcast with there's Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer, Mika Richards, and Gaza. And I think it was Gary Lineker said to Gaza, do you think if you'd have gone to Manchester United, you'd have calmed down? He says, not at that time. He said, you got Cantona doing kung fu kicks into the crowd. And Ryan Giggs shagging other people's wives. So I'd have fitted in good there.
He very nearly did, didn't he? He was sort of very close to going to United.
Yeah.
But I think Terry Venables brought him a house in London, which sort of swayed him. And of course, money as well.
Yeah. Alan Sunderland's moustache was offside for that winning goal against United. Yes, he had the proper sort of moustache.
A recent Arsenal player has passed away quite recently. Is it Kevin Campbell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that, Richard? I expect you probably did.
Oh dear. Well, I can't remember what I've said. I can keep reading. What did I say? Was it something I was waffling?
You were talking about that Gaza's goal against Arsenal. That's what he's on about. Yeah. Wasn't he part of the 89 team, I think, wasn't he, Kevin Campbell?
I think Richard will know better, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just...
Looks like Alan Shearer is going to hold on to his goal scoring record, doesn't it? But if Kane don't return to the Premier League.
No, I think he'll stay at Bayern Munich.
I think he will. Yeah.
He's got more chance of winning something at Munich than coming back here.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
I think his England days are numbered, though. I think
he's retired, isn't he? He's retired from English.
Has he?
Yeah, national team. Yeah.
Wonder who'll be our new captain.
Rice, maybe.
Depends who the new
manager is.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to be manager?
Well, the favourite's Eddie Howe, isn't it?
Yeah. Pochettino could take the role, couldn't he? I know he's not English, but that doesn't seem to matter.
No, I'm one of these that the national sides should be.
I agree.
Yeah. Except the ladies are married by a Dutch woman, but that's. But I think when she goes, they'll get the woman who was Chelsea man and she's now with the USA. They'll get her in.
Yeah.
No, I think Eddie Howe. I think Newcastle, since he was at Newcastle, they've played exciting football. I mean, what he did with Bournemouth was incredible. I think he's got, and he plays attacking football. And what he won't sit back and dither. He'll take them chances that, unfortunately, Southgate didn't.
George Graham kept Kevin Campbell, but had to let another young striker go. That was Andy Cole. What a mistake to make. Yeah, because he joined Man United, didn't he, eventually, Cole? And he went to Newcastle, didn't he? And then he went to Man United. And Blackburn after that, I believe.
Yeah, I remember when they won the Premiership.
Yeah. It's a bit of a Leicester, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Alan Shearer.
Yeah.
What else is in that side?
Is that the only kind of silverware Shearer won? Because he didn't win anything at Newcastle, did he?
No. Colin Hendry was in that side.
Tim Sherwood.
Tim Sherwood was, yeah. Who was the goalie?
I'm trying to think. Tim Flowers?
Tim Flowers, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird season that was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Kenny Dalglish, though.
Didn't Aston Villa win the League Cup that season or something? I can't remember now.
There's some interesting. Yeah, I can't think they did. It was a weird, a weird season for trophy winners.
Yeah, the sort of teams you wouldn't necessarily expect to win.
No.
Yeah, I like Tim Sherwood. I always think he's sort of down to earth, isn't he, when he talks?
Yeah, very good pundit, yeah.
Yeah.
Everton won the cup in '95, yeah.
Yes, Everton won their cup in '95, yeah. Like they hammered Tottenham in the semi-final. Absolutely hammered us. They played United in the final.
Yeah. I just hope this year we get a bit different cup final. I don't want another Manchester derby.
No. It doesn't have the same shine to it, does it? The FA Cup anymore.
No.
Since the '90s.
I think the only good thing it was on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. It used to be a big occasion, didn't it?
God, yeah.
We'd watch it. The whole nation would be watching it. Each season.
I mean, back in the day, I mean, when I was a kid, cup final day was
like Christmas in a way.
Oh God! Both channels did their thing. You'd get BBC would do an FA Cup. It's a knockout.
Yeah.
All the silly games. You'd get the road to Wembley on the bus, leaving the hotel, and
they would have the FA Cup final. Then after the game, all the kids would go out in the parks and play football, wouldn't they? It was a big occasion. But,
and then after the game, they'd be in the change room. They'd be all drinking milk.
Yeah. Now, it kind of changed in the early 2000s, I think. It just kind of went a bit.
Yeah, and then they changed it for the TV at 5 o'clock now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that they've changed it because if you come from the north on Saturday night, the railway always shuts early because that's when they do engineering routes. You know, the last train to Liverpool, say Liverpool or Manchester on a Saturday is 9:15 at night.
Mm.
So if you've got a game that kicks off at 5 and it went to extra time of penalties, you're scuppered. They couldn't run out special trains because the line shut. A lot of I think that's where people get a lot of maintenance is done between 9:30 Saturday night and up until 12 o'clock Sunday.
Yeah.
That's why they do it. So
I like the football shirts of the 90s. They got like a retro kind of vibe to them, haven't they? You know, and they're well made.
yeah, or the 70s were the worst. They were the tight.
The 70s wasn't a good. Yeah.
The shorts were budgie smugglers. It was awful.
They're way high up on the leg.
Yeah,
Weren't
I mean one of the worst players that looked bad in there was Kevin Beattie of Ipswich Town, because he was a big old bloke and he had these skimpy shorts on. It's like some of the England kits. I used to like the 70s England kit, not the 66 one, but the one with the collar and the little stripe down there.
Yeah.
That was a nice shirt.
I've got a 95 Tottenham home shirt, and like on the fabric on the front, there's like an embossed Tottenham emblem, but it's kind of like in the actual shirt itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you got the badge and the sponsors on top of it. But I've never seen such quality, you know, in like shirts sort of in the 2000s and onwards, you know, where they've done that kind of thing.
I mean, you know, Lee's a Chelsea fan and he can't stand the new shirt. It's blue. Why do we have to have all these stupid shapes on it? Plain bloody blue with the badge on. Thank you.
They're very generic, aren't they? You know.
I'll tell you what really pees me off in football today. When you have you've got Manchester United playing Chelsea and Chelsea away, but they won't wear blue. They wear their third kit.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you only had your away kit if you clashed.
I don't know why teams have to keep changing the colours of their third away kit. You know, I
don't
like
need a third kit. You just have.
I know you don't. I know. I don't know why they do have a third kit. Really,
and they wear these horrible colours. You know, vivid green and.
I like the Tottenham kits of the home to be white, the away to be a navy blue, and the third, if they're going to make a third, make it yellow. Those are the colours I want to see.
I can't remember what colour they played in back in the 70s. Their away kit. You see, to me, Arsenal home team, you know, the red and the sheep. Their away kit was a yellow top, blue shorts.
Yeah.
None of this jazzy nonsense.
I liked like the old Arsenal and Man United shirts, how they used to look. They look good, you know. Arsenal would have JVC, wouldn't they, on their sponsor, or was it Sharp for Man United, and you know the Umbros and Adidas's. They were the best. You know.
Yeah, I agree with Richard. what I've said. There should be yellow with blue shorts. That's the away kit for us. And there's pouncing around. You see, Liverpool's were white shirts with a red trim and black shorts.
They even have sponsorships now for their training wear, don't they?
Yeah.
Clubs.
I just find it very, very strange. When you know, third kits and I think one of the worst kits I've seen. I think it's the French. There's a French team that play in this horrible turquoise. I can't remember who it is. It looks horrible. Looks insipid. It's more about fashion than the.
I wonder, like, if we had to sort of pick our dream decade team, and it have to be just the English league, not like European or other countries and stuff, just based on England. What would your dream team of like the 80s be? The 70s, what would that be? 90s? They could be foreign players, but they have to be in either the Premier League or League One, depending on the decade.
I think for 70s, Nottingham Forest. Good evening.
Good evening. I thought I'd come up for a while. I was really getting into this chat, so why not?
My team for the 70s would be Nottingham Forest.
Not teams, players.
Players.
So you could have players from any.
It'd be a Nottingham Forest player, John Robertson. Absolutely brilliant winger.
Arsenal actually got a couple of the Forest players, maybe slightly past their prime. Well, we got Tony Woodcock, who was brilliant before. He was okay with us, but he just wasn't as good with Forest. And then we got Viv Anderson, who was the first black player to play for England, I believe.
Yeah.
He was okay for us as well, but we only had them for a few years and then we sold them on. But
I think you'd have to have Hoddle in there, I think.
What was the question anyway? Sorry, because I was trying to get on and I didn't hear.
It's sort of going into decades and English league only. Your dream 11.
Right. Okay.
So your dream 11 of the sort of 70s, 80s, 90s.
And you can only have Graham Hoddle. He went through well in the 80s as well, but
he did. He did. Yeah.
Did you ever buy the Hoddle and Waddle single Diamond Lights or something?
I've got two of the singles. There was two done, wasn't there?
As
terrible as it is.
Well, fair play to you, Simon. Fair play to you.
I'll tell you what I'd have up front. Charlie George.
No, he's a good player, but who was the best centre forward for?
Kevin Keegan I'd have in.
Oh, well, he'd be playing. Do you know who I would actually have as a centre back for Man United? Martin Buchan, who I thought was absolutely unstoppable. You couldn't get past him. Do you remember him?
Yeah, Martin Buchan. Yeah, very good.
He was the captain. He was the captain, really, of the rejuvenated Man United. You remember they went down after Dennis Law put them down. But whenever they came back, they had new players like Stuart Pearson and Gordon Hill and things like that there. And Sammy McElroy, David McCreary, all really, really, the Greenwoods, the two, is it Greenwoods?
Greenhoff.
Greenhoff. The two of them. So who would be the best centre forward in the Do you know another good one in the 70s? Hate saying it, but Peter Osgood of Chelsea.
Yeah. Fine player.
Mm.
I'll tell you what, having a goalie, you have Peter Shilton, Ray Clements,
Ray Clements, yeah.
Pat
Chilton's
Jennings.
Oh, is it English or Irish? Irish or
They played for Arsenal, so I'd say he was in the.
More Spurs, but still
Pat Jennings was a great goalie.
a fantastic keeper.
Biggest hands in football.
Yeah, that's one I never hear the fans complain about because we took him from Tottenham, but Tottenham let him go because they thought he was past it, and he got another 7 or 8 years with Arsenal at the top level.
Yeah, Alex Stepney was a good goalie, the United goalie.
Yeah.
Defenders. Cool.
We see what are you going? Are you going for the bone crushers like your
Chopper
Peter Story,
Harris.
Chopper Harris, and Tommy
Graham
Smith, and
Souness. Was
he's
centre
midfielder. Aye, Souness would definitely get in.
Yeah.
He'd be a hard man.
There's got to be a few from the Liverpool team, isn't there? You've got to.
I think, Ian, you might be able to tell me this, but I think one of the England sides contained, I think it was 9 out of the 11 Liverpool players for a match way back in the late 70s.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'd have one of the defenders, Phil Neal.
I wasn't bad. He made mistakes as well. I've been watching a lot of these old football matches on YouTube from the 70s, and all these star players, they make mistakes as well. Like Phil Neal made a clunker in an England game, I think it was in the early 80s or something, an absolute disaster of a mistake. So they all make the mistakes.
Well, there's a good reason why I'm going to say Phil Neal, because he's the next Northampton Town player.
Isn't he?
Kevin Keegan, of course.
Yeah.
Kevin was brilliant. Saw him play. Emlyn Hughes, another.
I met him. He's such a gentleman. I met Emlyn Hughes when I was working in Jersey. He came in, took him for a drink in the bar. There was a few people, and he was so polite. Unbelievably nice guy.
There was
Big
somebody
tipper.
on the Liverpool side of the 70s. Kenny Dalglish when Keegan moved on. Steve Highway.
Another brilliant player down the left-hand wing.
Yeah.
Billy Bremner.
Billy Bremner.
He was as hard as nails as well, that boy. So he was.
Mm.
Another redhead would be Alan Ball, fantastic player. I know he was in the World Cup in the 60s, but in the early part of the 70s, he stopped Arsenal from being relegated. He was the only decent player they had around 74, 75.
Joe Jordan as well. He was a hard nut, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Gordon McQueen as well. Both of them went up to United.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, could you thinking of what else? Alan Clark, Leeds United.
good player. Bob Latchford, although was he not 80s, early 80s?
No, he played in the 70s. But it was at Everton, wasn't he?
Yep.
Trevor Francis.
Trevor Francis. I always thought he was a little bit overrated for being the first £1 million player.
So you got play was like Kenny Hibbett of Wolves.
He had a brother, Terry, didn't he?
Yeah.
Remember
And
him
don't
as well.
forget Derek Dougan. What a fantastic footballer he was.
I was watching a wee thing about Derek Dougan there the other day. He's about 9 foot tall.
Absolutely. There's so many of them players that should have some of the best players. Francis Lee.
He was a hard man.
He
By the way,
Ozzy Albides.
sorry?
Ozzy Ardiles.
A brilliant player. He was my favourite player in the 1978 World Cup. I loved him, and then Spurs bought him. Hated him. I
70s and 80s, of course, isn't it?
I am going to make a confession here now, Simon. You're going to be shocked, totally shocked.
Far
But
away.
whenever in the late 70s, I had a full Spurs strip.
Did you?
I had a full, yeah. Obviously, I had the Arsenal strip, and I had one other strip. 'Cause whenever you're playing football with your mates, you always pretended to be certain players, and I was playing Hoddle quite a bit whenever I had my Spurs strip on. And as whoever I wanted to be with Arsenal, but my other strip, and if I tell you the name, Ian will get the strip. Stan Bowles.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, didn't you?
Bolton Wanderers.
No, Queen's Park Rangers.
Oh, he played, yeah, QPR.
Oh, he was fantastic. I would actually have him in one of my 70s sides somewhere. I would fit him in somewhere.
Liam Bradley.
Brady.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Brady.
Brilliant.
One of the best
Well-
midfield players.
You see
Gordon
that you were
Banks.
Gordon, but he was more 60s though. In the very, very early part of the 70s, he was the 60s player. But you know the way you were talking about the Arsenal Man United final where it was 2-0, went to 2-2, then Brady crossed for Sunderland. In that Arsenal team, there was 6 Irish players. You would never get that now. 3 from the
David
north.
O'Leary.
Yes.
Bobby
Oh.
Moore.
No, as he's West Ham.
Who else was in that?
Well, you just mentioned one. Simon just mentioned him. Liam.
Liam Brady. He was the
Brady, yeah.
Republic, weren't he?
Yes. There's one more Republic and 3 Northern Ireland. I like these.
Sammy
McElroy.
No,
He played for United. He played as well. Like,
Sammy McElroy, yeah.
and
George
McCreary.
Best. Oh, he was 70s, wasn't he? George Best.
No, he had long gone. I think at that time he was playing for Fulham.
Yeah, they had Bobby Moore, Rodney Marsh, and George Best at Fulham. Playing for Arsenal.
He went on to play for United.
Yeah, 63 to 74 at
Frank
United.
Stapleton.
Frank Stapleton. Those were the 3 Republic. And any chance of the 3 Northern Ireland? We've mentioned them before.
Pat
Goalkeeper.
Jennings.
Pat Jennings. Another Pat.
Pat Rice.
Correct. He was captain. And the third one was the left back that nobody ever remembers, and I love them. And he's got the same surname as an Arsenal player called Reese.
No, I'll know when you tell me.
Sammy Nelson. Sammy Nelson.
Yeah.
So 6 of the 11 were from Northern Ireland and the South, which you'd never find now. I don't even know if you would get that over in the Irish League at the moment.
Yeah. Just reading about Mark nearly walked out in the Scotland World Cup in a strop, not so nice player.
Yeah. Patrick Vieira is the best Pat ever. Patrick Vieira was a monster. Patrick Vieira. Douglas, yeah, he would get in.
Yeah, he's got a beard.
Yeah, Phil Neal was from Irchester. He was an Irchester boy. So like just Irchester's little village. My mate lives there.
Nick, I don't know if you've mentioned it, but Nick just mentioned Brian Robson. I know he's more 80s than 70s, but he used to be Wolverhampton. No, he used to be West Bromwich Albion, didn't he?
There was Pop Robson.
He was bald, wasn't he? Yeah.
I mentioned him earlier, Kevin Beattie of Ipswich Town.
I remember Kevin Beattie. Yes, he went on to. Did he play for Bolton or Derby for a while?
Yeah. Who was the other one from Ipswich? Paul.
Well, there's John Wark
John Wall, great player.
and Brian Talbot that Arsenal bought.
Yeah.
And then we also bought Paul Mariner, who's a good player.
That's it, Paul Mariner. And then you had
Yeah.
Clive Woods played. Alan Brazil played for Ipswich.
He's brilliant on TalkSport. I think he's so funny. He's hilarious on TalkSport on Brazil.
Yeah, that Ipswich side that won the FA Cup was a great side.
That's why I told you to shut up. It was about Gaza's goal against us. And now you're bringing up the 1978 FA Cup final. So I'm going to say it again. Shut up, Ian. That was the most.
Played more times than anyone, Richard. There should be no animosity.
Yeah, no, but that was the first FA Cup final I can remember. I remember sitting down watching it, and I was heartbroken at the end of it. And it was almost like, put it this way, whenever a girl split up with me, it was never as bad as the feeling I got when Arsenal lost the FA Cup final in '78. But we didn't deserve to win it.
Do you think the 91 stings a bit, Richard, even now, because it was the first semi-final played at Wembley? Do you think that's its angle where it hurts?
Yeah.
And because of the Gaza's goal, kind of, the
next year was emotions were all over the place, because I thought we were at a canter with 4 minutes to go. We were 2-0 up, and then United got 2 back, and that sinking feeling, because if it went to extra time, United would have won it because they were on up, and it was just from the kickoff, and the ball went.
Oh, he's going what happened to me last night.
Is he gone, is he?
Yeah, he's
he's in limbo.
He's in limbo.
No, just
the first FA Cup I remember watching was the 1973 World Cup final, where Sunderland of the second division beat Leeds United 1-0. And then the next year, it was 74. It was Liverpool against Newcastle United.
Yeah.
And I remember that one because my godfather was from Liverpool, and they were sort of family friends. His mum and dad. Well, my godfather used to go to school with Paul McCartney.
Oh. So, not many people would say that.
Yeah, and his mum and dad were down to seeing my nan and granddad because they were friends, and because I used to live next door to my growing up, and the guy moved. He was a policeman. He moved to Liverpool to become the chief bandsman of the Liverpool police band, and he came and he made a surprise visit to watch the cup final, and we all and my granddad, was the first time he'd got a colour TV, was 1974, so it was all round me granddad's watching the cup final in colour, which was strange.
Yeah, all very new, I'd imagine. Like,
oh God.
I
mean, we didn't get our first colour TV till 76.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the 442 website about 70s players.
Yeah.
And a good majority of them are overseas players. John and Cruyff, Franz Beckenbauer, Gerd Muller.
Yeah, he was a great player.
Carlos Alberto.
Dino Zoff.
Mario Kempes. Yeah, a lot of them are foreigners.
There was an Austrian called Hans Krankel. He
Was that?
scored a great goal against West Germany in the World Cup of '78. Sort of a sidekick. Boom.
Kevin Keegan is on the list.
Oh God, yeah.
Rivellino?
Revellino.
A man with the great moustache. And
Yes,
even better football ability.
Revellino, the Brazilian, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of Brazilians on here. Dino Zoff. Or Zoff.
Yeah, great goalkeeper. Absolutely brilliant goalkeeper.
Italy.
He was the captain of Italy when they won the World Cup in '82. This was his last tournament. I mean, there's Jarzinho as well. He was a great player. I mean, Pele was still playing football in 1970.
Yeah, it's got Pele down there. Yeah. Sepp Mailer.
Sepp Maier, yeah, the German goalkeeper.
Yeah.
See, I know. It's amazing. I still remember all these.
Daniel Pezzarelli.
Pezzarelli, yeah, Italian.
Yeah, Argentina. Captain of Argentina. First World Cup winning team.
Goalkeeper. The goalkeeper. I can't think of his name. I don't know if anyone else does. The goalkeeper that was it for Poland in 1973 when they knocked us out of the World Cup. Absolutely brilliant goalkeeper. Made some fine saves that night.
I see Ozzy Ardiles is standing next to him in the World Cup celebrations. He was like a young lad.
Yeah, Ricky Belia.
Yeah, really as well.
That's it. Well done, Nick.
Ruud Krol. Dutch.
Rudy Kroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dutch, another great Dutch player. That's
Technically
74.
good team, aren't they? Dutch.
Yeah, that always happened. I mean, that's 74 that lost to West Germany. There was a wonder that it's got one of Johan Cruyff's best. He turned on a sixpence and beat a player. Absolutely brilliant. I remember that World Cup was it's got some goofs and that. Zaire played in their first ever World Cup and they didn't have a clue. I think they were playing. I don't know if they were playing, but the opposition got a free kick and then they set it up. The referee blows the whistle and the defender comes and boots it up the other end of the field.
Would you say the 70s would be the best era of football?
I think so. I don't know if it's because it's when I was growing up and they were the sort of my heroes. A lot of them players were heroes, and they all really become legends. I mean, Franz Beckenbauer played in the '66 World Cup.
Did
he? Yeah. Yeah, his internet went.
Oh, okay. Paul Berettner. Score of West Germany's equaliser from the penalty spot as they fought back to beat the Netherlands in 1978 World Cup final.
Yeah. Good player.
Kenny Dalglish, of course, which we know. Pele, we know.
Archie Gemmell.
Claudio Gentile.
Janili or so. Yeah.
A no-nonsense centre-half who could also operate in either a full-back position. Blunted many an attack during the 70s in the colours of Juventus and Italy. Never heard some of these players.
I think I saw a picture of him. I probably know who it was.
Alan Simonsen. Undoubtedly one of Denmark's best players of all time.
Yeah, the name rings a bell. Well, there were some good French players around in the day as well.
Hans Krankel.
That's the one, yeah, played for Austria.
Netting 185 times in 252 appearances. Is amongst the very best players ever to come out of Austria.
Yeah, he did score a stunner in the '78 World Cup.
Facchetti. Giancarlo Facchetti was among the first to really master the art of attacking fullback play. 1970 World Cup runner-upper, skipper, spent his entire club career with Inter Milan. Going off on a bit of a tangent here, aren't we, with these players? Interesting.
Yeah, there were some great players in the '70s. I mean, I think a lot of for me is that there was none of these agents, and they weren't and if you got tackled, you got up. You didn't roll around. You didn't plead with the referee to give a penalty. They'd go handball, and then they went no. That was it. They carried on.
Yeah.
Now, there were some dodgy decisions made, but reffing decisions. There was goals that were never goals, and
Lato, top scorer of the 1974 World Cup with 7 goals to fire Poland into 3rd place.
Yeah,
Lato was among the greatest wingers of his era. Marius Trezor, Caribbean, born in France overseas department, went on to establish himself as one of the very best centre-backs of his generation. French player of the year 1972. Trezor won the 1975-76 Coupe de France with Marseille and represented his nation at the 1978 World Cup. Some big players here, I'm guessing.
no. I suppose you go into some of the '80s players. You've got like Bettini. Okay, dodgy old boy, but a fantastic footballer. And Zico of Brazil, he was a fantastic player. But see, I'd sort of by the '80s, I was not as much in love with the game.
Hang on, my sound's gone. A sec.
Oh dear.
Oh, I can hear you now.
That's the one.
My sound went for a minute. I know I'm probably butchering these names. You probably very well know them, don't you? So I heard them read out on TV. And
So I've just seen where Rocky was. Yeah, it's about as good as my pronunciation of
Terrible.
terrible. Yeah.
Thing is, if
Absolutely.
it was a modern game, I would be able to pronounce them far better.
There's some names you look at and go, how the minute am I going to say that?
Yeah, yeah. Foreign names are just
Especially Dutch names.
Dutch. Yeah,
Dutch names are.
they could completely be said different to what you read them as, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my ex-partner. She's half Dutch, and her name written down here. You used to sit in doctors. Yeah, that's me. But then I get the same with my name.
Yeah, well, it's an odd way of spelling your name, isn't it?
Well, it's not odd. It's the Scottish way.
I didn't even know there was a Scottish way. Oh, yeah.
See, the Welsh way is Ieuan.
Ieuan.
Ieuan, yeah. It's spelled Euan.
Oh.
And the most famous Ieuan is Ieuan Evans, who played rugby for Wales. Ian is actually Gaelic for John.
Look.
Yeah, I get called Lane with a
Line.
Yeah, I have mail turned up for Lane. It's when people say your parents couldn't spell your name right, you know.
Well, on a computer keyboard, a lowercase I looks like an L, doesn't it?
Yeah. As Alan Partridge would say, stop getting foreign players' names wrong.
Yeah. You're right. I'll give up. Anyway, I'm going to call it a day. We hit the 2-hour mark, and it's very quiet now. So
they're all watching the Olympics.
Yeah. No, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Oh well. I'll see you next week, then, fellas.
Bye bye.
You know.